Hello everyone, this is Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet the ombre pocket scarf. It's a really neat pattern. It works up nice and quickly, and I designed it about a year or so ago when Red Heart first came out with their ombre yarns. And of course this is a Super Saver worsted weight number 4. And it has 10 ounces on the skein, or skein, however you want to pronounce that. And what the ombre is if you look at the end of the yarn, you can see that it goes light to dark to light to dark, all within the same color. This one is the blue. The one that I originally made the pattern out of is a mint, and it's like a very light teal. And you can see the light shades, the darker shades, and it even gets even darker here. It's just a gorgeous and stunning yarn. Now you can find this pattern on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. So what you're going to need to make an ombre pocket scarf is 1 skein of Red Heart ombre that's 10 ounces, or any worsted weight number 4 yarn, and you're going to need 10 ounces, and that's 482 yards. We use the entire skein, and it's lots of fun to be able to just buy 1 skein of yarn and finish a project. Now this is the blue one. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using this coral. It's just gorgeous, going from lights to darks in coral. We're going to be stitching today with our eye hook. The eye is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle for weaving in those ends, and you'll also need your scissors. And then the other thing you need is your tape measure, because once we complete the scarf, we're going to measure down in order to flip up those ends for the pocket. We're going to begin by making our slip knot. And then we're going to chain 27 chains. Now I want to remind you not to make this beginning chain too tight, or when we go to flip the pocket up, the pocket will be a little bit puckered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 27 chains, chained just a little bit loose so my pocket doesn't pucker up. We're going to begin in the second chain from the hook. We don't count the chain loop on our hook. The first chain is here, and then we're going to begin stitching in the second chain. We're going to place a single crochet, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. And then we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the chains across. We chain 27, and we'll have 26 single crochets. One single crochet in each of the chains across for 26 single crochets. We're going to chain 3. Chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. We're going to turn our work, and then we'll start in that next stitch and stitch a double crochet in each single crochet across. So yarn over, go in that first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. And we'll just place 1 double crochet in each of the single crochets across. So I have completed one double crochet in each single crochet across. I'm going to chain 3 and turn. Now this row we're going to be alternating between a double crochet and a front post double crochet. Our first chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So our second stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. Yarn over, and we're going to go through the post of the stitch, not the top of the stitch, and stitch our double crochet. Then we'll go in the next stitch and stitch a regular double crochet. And that's the way this row will work. Front post, double crochet, then a double crochet in the next stitch. And this is the top edge of our pocket. And what we're going to be doing is doing 2 rows like this. Then we'll do our body of our work of our scarf, and then at the very end we'll repeat what we did here so that it will look the same on both ends. So front post double crochet, then a double crochet in the next. Front post double crochet in the next, and double crochet in the next. Now we'll still only have 26 double crochets. They're just placed in different places. Our stitch count doesn't change, just where we're putting our double crochet. So we're doing double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, all the way across this row. So I continued on with the double crochet, front post double crochet across. Your last stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. So you'll just go through that chain just as if it was a regular stitch and stitch that front post double crochet. Then we'll chain 3. There we go. And turn. Now, what we're going to be doing on this row is exactly what we did on the previous row, only because they're on the back side, they'll be back post double crochets. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go around that first stitch because we're stitching a back post first. There we go. Then we'll stitch a regular double crochet. And then we'll stitch around the back post. Regular double crochet. This yarn's just a little bit splitty all of a sudden. Then we'll go to the back post double crochet. There we go. And let me show you. On the front side, if we turn it over, we've done our back posts and our front posts, so it's all together. Alrighty. All right, let's keep going. So we've got a regular double crochet. Then we stitch our back post, going around the post on the back side. And we want to make sure that we're stitching those back posts in the previous row of front posts. And then our double crochets are in the double crochets. You see, we're still stitching double crochets. We're just putting them different places. And it gives a nice effect because this is the top edge of the pocket. See? Our front posts are in our back posts in our front post, I mean, on the same stitches. Our double crochets are in our double crochets. and it makes a nice edge for the top of our pocket. So I completed this row, double crochet, back post all the way across. You'll end up with a double crochet in your last stitch on that row. We're going to chain 3 and turn. And you'll see that if you stitch this row right, your back post and your front posts are together, and then in between are your regular double crochets. And like I said, that just gives you a nice edge because that's going to be the top edge of your pocket. All right, so now it's time to do the body of our scarf. So we have our chain 3, counts as 1 double crochet. We're going to skip the next stitch, and then in the next stitch we're going to stitch a V-stitch. And a V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same stitch. We'll skip the next stitch and repeat. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same stitch. And we'll do this all the way across. Skip the next and V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the same stitch. And see how they look like V's? Okay, so we're just going to repeat this all the way across. V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Skip the next stitch and V-stitch. We have our double crochet at our first, because that's our chain 3. We skipped, and then we did V-stitch, skip all the way across, and you'll have 12 V-stitches, and then you'll double crochet in that last stitch. And that's the way that should look. Now we'll chain 3 and turn. And this is where the scarf becomes extremely easy, because what we'll do is we'll have our chain 3 that counts as our first double crochet, and then we'll stitch a V-stitch, which is the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in each of the V-stitches across. See? Here's our chain 3 that counts as our double crochet, and then I'm stitching a V-stitch in each V-stitch. So see, I'm stitching a V-stitch right in that chain 1 space of each of the V-stitches of the previous row. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet right in the chain 1 space of the V-stitch of the previous row. We'll continue this all the way across, and then we'll double crochet in the top of this chain 3. You'll still have those 12 V-stitches You'll have your chain 3 at the beginning of the row that counts as your double crochet. You'll have 12 V-stitches, and then you'll double crochet in the top of that chain 3 and chain 3. And this is where you'll see that it's really important that that beginning chain wasn't too tight so that it lays nice and flat for the top of your pocket. All right, now what you'll do from now to row 104 is you'll repeat what we did on this row. Chain 3, turn, counts as your first double crochet, and then V-stitches in the V-stitches. And you'll repeat this till you reach row 104. And that's going to get you a long scarf of about 52 inches. Now remember, it needs to be nice and long because we're going to be folding up both ends to form the pockets. If you want to make it shorter, you certainly can. And if you want to make it longer than that, you certainly can. It's totally up to you, the length that you'd like to have. And that's why this scarf works great for a man or a woman, someone tall, someone short, a child, a kiddo, a youth. It works great for all of them because you can make the length that you want. And you can also choose the colors, whatever their favorite color may be. And although I've chosen to design this in the ombre colors, you don't even have to do that. You can do it all in one color or maybe school colors. So there's lots of wonderful options for this scarf. So just to repeat, we're going to be repeating chain 3, V-stitches in the V-stitches, double crochet in the last stitch, chain 3, and repeat. And we're going to be repeating this up through row 104. So I have stitched my 104 rows for my scarf, and it's really, really pretty with all the different shades. So now we're going to finish up the length of the scarf, and we're going to do the edge similar to the edge we began with for the pocket edge. All right, so we have our chain 3. We're going to double crochet and the 2 double crochets of the V-stitch. And what we're going to be doing is just making a solid row of double crochets. We're not going to double crochet in the chain 1 space, just the double crochets of the V-stitches across. There we go. So basically, it's 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets of the V-stitches. There we go. Got caught up on a string again. And then when we get across, we'll place a double crochet in this chain 3 space. And this is going to give us 26 double crochets. So we'll be back to the 26 that we began with at the beginning of our scarf. So now that we've completed that row of double crochets, we're going to repeat what we did back at the beginning on R3. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and then we're going to front post on the next. Front post, double crochet. Then we'll double crochet in the next, and front post double crochet in the next, just like we did at the beginning, so that the both pocket edges resemble each other. So what I'm doing is I'm stitching like we did at the beginning, double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post, double crochet. All the way across. Then we'll turn and repeat what we did, only stitching in the back posts. And again, you'll have 26 stitches. I completed this row of double crochet front post, double crochet front post all the way across. And don't forget, in that last stitch, you need to go around that chain 3 because it's a front post. Then we'll chain 3 and turn. Get everything turned over here. And so our first one's going to be a back post because it was a front post on the previous row. So we'll go around it from the back. Then we'll double crochet in the next stitch and repeat across back post around that front post from the previous row and a double crochet. Back post from the previous row on that front post and then a double crochet, just like we did on the other end, so that our front posts and our back posts are together and we have the individual double crochets in between. And we'll repeat this all the way across. Whoops. I tried to do a front post there, didn't I? Regular double crochet, back post, regular double crochet, back post, all the way across. And just look at it and you can see if you put them in the right spots, because your back posts are in your front posts of your previous row and your individual double crochets are in between. We'll repeat this all the way across, and then we'll just have one more row to do and we'll form the pockets. I have now completed the row of the back posts in the front post with the double crochets in between, and all we're going to do now is chain 1 and turn. And this last row is just a simple row of single crochets. And again, we're only going to have 26 stitches across. So we'll go right in that first double crochet and stitch a single. And this, of course, is the pocket edge. So 1 single crochet in each stitch across, and then we'll tie off and weave in these ends. And that's the end of the scarf portion. And then I'm going to show you how to form the pockets. So I'm just working across, stitching 1 single crochet in each single crochet across. Well, you can see that I finished that single crochet row. I'm going to go ahead and cut that, tie that off, and I'm going to go ahead and use my needle and weave that in. And I'm also going to weave in the other end. Then I don't have to mess with that later. And if you'll notice, I've pulled the camera out because I'm going to show you how to do the pockets. All right, we'll go ahead and cut that one since I'm short on yarn. All right, now, here's the end of your scarf. And you want to make sure that you've got the right side facing out. So we'll turn it this way because I want to roll it up this way. And here's my edge where I added those front and back post stitches. So what we'll do is we'll take our tape measure and we'll measure out 7, and that'll bring it right there. So I'm going to fold it right there. If you want your pockets longer, you can certainly make them longer. Okay, so once it's folded, I go ahead and measure again. Make sure that it's even across, and it is. Now, you can use a needle or something to hold it in place if you want to. Sometimes what I do for a big project is I'll grab an extra crochet hook and just sort of shove it in like this just to keep it in place, but I'm actually not going to do that this time. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the yarn that we're working with. We're going to attach it down here, going through. And I want you to leave yourself a good amount of tail on this end so we can weave that in securely. We're just going to pull this through. And then we're just going to stitch slip stitches. To sew the pocket closed, we're going to go through both thicknesses, the front and the back, pull our yarn through, and like I previously said, make sure you leave yourself a good long tail for weaving that in, because we want to make sure we close that up nice and neatly. And we're just going to make slip stitches, trying our best to go through stitches and not holes. And the slip stitch is you go through, you pull up that loop, and then you pull that loop through the loop that's on your hook. Be careful not to pull too tightly or your pocket will be all puckered. So you want to make sure you got a little bit of room in there. This is a little bit of an open stitch, so I don't recommend putting any jewelry or makeup or pencils in there. But it's a great pocket to keep your hands warm, or maybe just pop your hat or mittens in so you don't lose them. And this is the part that's a little bit time consuming because you want to make sure that you do it right. So take your time going through both thicknesses and then work your way up to the top of the pocket. Once you have slip stitched up the side of your pocket and you're confident that it's not going to come out, we're going to go ahead and cut our yarn and tie that off. We'll use our needle to weave the sides in, and you'll need to do this on all 4 sides of your pockets, 2 sides on each pocket. One thing I want to really reiterate about this scarf is these corners at the top where you'll be putting your hands in more often. And what I do is I go ahead and take my needle and make a couple of stitches like that, just to give it a little bit of reinforcement on those corners, and then I go down in and weave that in. I don't want my pockets to come undone. And when you're putting your hands in and out of a pocket, it can wear on those corners. Alrighty, let me clip that. And just by making those 2 extra little whip stitches right there, you've given it a little bit of extra reinforcement. All right, with the bottom, what I do, I left a little bit of extra. I make sure that corner's closed, and then I just weave that in. Again, although I'm not going to be putting makeup or jewelry or anything small in here, I don't want my mittens to fall out, right? All right, so that's the one side, and then we'll need to come over here and repeat this on the other side of the pocket, and then do the other side of the scarf and do the pocket on this side. Exactly the same. Measure down those 7 inches, fold it up, make sure you've got the right side out, and stitch up those sides.